Nearly 57 million Americans work for an employer that does not offer a retirement savings plan.
Rising costs like a $21.60 increase in the monthly Medicare Part B premium from $148.50 to about $170, a 15% increase.
In December 2020, the average price of a new vehicle in America reached a record high of $38,000. In 2013, sales of cars costing less than $20,000 made up 20.1% of total annual new car sales. By 2020, that figure was 9.4%.
With the looming economic recession, America has to deal with a shocking condition of retirement savings. The current state of the economy does not give much opportunity to plan for the future, as high inflation eats all the money households save. But the main problem is the stability of the middle class because of its importance for the nation's economic health. Over the past 50 years, the financial status of most American adults has declined. Pew Research Center's analysis of government data shows that the percentage of adults living in middle-class households has decreased from 61% in 1971 to 50% in 2021. Thus, in this video, we'll talk about 15 reasons why the middle class will never get to retire. But before jumping to the list, consider supporting the channel by subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss new episodes. Number 1, Americans are losing confidence in retirement. According to Northwestern Mutual's 2019 Planning and Progress study, 15% of the 2003 adults surveyed had not saved any money for retirement. The Retirement Confidence Survey conducted in 2020 shows that only 27% of retirees are very confident about their ability to maintain a comfortable lifestyle during their retirement. This figure is lower than the record lows between 2009 and 2013. Unfortunately, 32% of respondents reported having no confidence in their savings. Interestingly, those who lacked a specified retirement plan were the least confident. Number 2, the unliftable cost of long-term services and support. Retirement saving is one of the main ways to finance one's life after decades of work, especially as one's getting older. Yet in 2021, the median annual cost of care in the U.S. were over $108,000 for a private room in a nursing home, $54,000 for an assisted living facility, and almost $62,000 for home health aid costs. Number 3, uncertainty about the cost of healthcare. As an individual gets older, healthcare becomes a very expensive issue. Recent research from the Peterson Center of Healthcare, the Kaiser Family Foundation, shows that despite 90% of Americans having some form of health coverage, they still owe a staggering $195 billion in medical debt. This means that households, including the middle class, will have to comprise their savings and retirement to pay medical bills. Number 4, unaffordable housing. One of the most critical issues that the middle class, as well as the majority of Americans, faces is housing affordability. National Association of Home Builders updated its housing affordability pyramid for 2023. Latest data shows that 64.8 million households out of a total of 132.5 million are unable to afford a $250,000 U.S. home. In the United States, the typical cost for a new single-family home is $425,786. This means that half of all new homes sold are priced higher, and the other half are priced lower. Unfortunately, this price is out of reach for approximately 73% of households in the country, which totals around 96.5 million households. Number 5, the wage crisis. Most Americans benefit from economic growth through their wages rather than investment income. However, many workers have not seen an improvement in their salaries in recent decades. In fact, the typical worker's hourly inflation-adjusted wages have only grown by 0.2% per year since the early 1970s. This means that while the economy has been expanding, the majority of people have not seen any significant increase in their wages, which makes it difficult to save money for retirement. 6, Increasing costs of education. To afford good retirement savings, households need to invest in education. But higher education in the U.S. is extremely expensive, which prevents individuals from earning more money. In 2019, the average tuition and fees for universities in the United States were over $14.5 thousand US. However, this cost does not include the average price for room and board. It's worth noting that the average tuition cost has increased over threefold since 2001. 7 is the high cost of retirement. The fundamental factor driving the retirement crisis is the increasing cost of an adequate retirement. The following chart displays the cost for an average worker from 1990 to 2021. For example, the middle-class female wage earner retired in 2000, she would have had to save 5% of her pay over her career to finance an 80% pay replacement in retirement. However, if a female middle-class wage earner retired in 2021, she would have to save 7.6% of her pay. This represents a 54% increase in her retirement costs for this worker, which requires an additional 2.6% of income to be saved annually over a 40-year career. 8. The poor design of the retirement system. Although retirement should be a reliable institute that ensures the financial stability of a worker after the end of their career, recent history shows that it is flawed. Retirement relies heavily on Social Security, as revealed by a study conducted by Pew Charitable Trust. However, the trust fund is depleting rapidly. Even before the pandemic, state and local government pensions were underfunded by $1.2 trillion. Additionally, half of private sector workers cannot access a 401k or any other employer-sponsored retirement plan. 9. Increasing cost of cars. Apart from the house, middle-class households save money on cars as they today represent an absolute necessity in America. However, in today's market, owning a car has become quite expensive due to supply chain issues and inflation, making it unaffordable for many people. A survey conducted by Qualtrics for Credit Karma revealed that 1/3 of respondents who do not own a car express the need for one but cannot afford it in the current market. Survey also found that not owning a car is holding back almost half of the respondents, 45% from making financial progress because of difficulties commuting to work. Additionally, 12% of respondents believe owning a car is too much of a financial burden. In other words, families have to make yet another choice of owning a vehicle, which is crucial for increasing income that will allow them to save more or save this money for retirement. 10 is high inflation. Over the past couple of years, the U.S. has been fighting high inflation from 0.3% in 2020 to 4.9% in April 2023. In June 2022, prices of goods and services hit a 40-year record high of 9.1%. In such an environment, even the once mighty middle class cannot save money to afford a comfortable retirement. According to a survey, due to the higher cost of living, a large majority, 82% of middle-class households, have either decreased their savings or dipped into their existing savings in the last 3 months of 2022. 11. The upcoming recession. A new report reveals that a significant number of middle-class households are anticipating a possible recession in 2023. In fact, 81% of them are preparing for it, with 62% already taking or planning steps to get ready. To achieve financial stability, many of these families are focusing on reducing their debt. Thus, it's hard to expect households to think about the future when the disaster is already knocking at their doors. 12. Falling stock markets. For years, the media has been reporting on the retirement crisis. Even before the pandemic, most Americans were not saving enough for their retirement. Unfortunately, the falling stock markets have caused 401ks and IRAs to lose over $3 trillion, as reported by Boston College's Center for Retirement Research. With the current rise in inflation and economic crisis, more and more Americans are finding themselves unprepared for a secure future. 13. Skyrocketing rent prices. Rent is a significant expense that middle-class families have to put aside, fading away retirement savings. According to a study in 2018, 27.1 million people, or 62% of renters, had middle-class incomes between $30,000 and $75,000. Additionally, there's been an increase in the number of families with a yearly income of at least $75,000 who are renting, with at least 10.3 million families falling into this category. 14. Employment extension. According to a survey by Voya Financial, it's predicted that 32% of Americans aged 65 to 74 will still be working in 2030. This is a significant increase from 2000, when only 19% of people in the same age group were still working. The survey identified these individuals as employment extenders who have chosen to work longer. However, the vast majority, 92% of these individuals, have not saved enough for retirement, with 60% having less than $500,000 in savings. Last but not least, lack of understanding of the retirement system. Planning a retirement is not easy, as one needs to thoroughly calculate how much money is required in order to cover living expenses after leaving the job market. It's troubling that over 50% of American adults are unaware of the typical lifespan during retirement, as highlighted in a recent report by the TIAA Institute and George Washington University. This lack of knowledge may lead to insufficient savings to support their potential longevity. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to share your thoughts on this subject in the comments section below.